And so with his last breath and without a kiss, he rolls over on the blood-red clover, looks up in the air and says a prayer. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
My name is Will Rawls, and I'm an independent choreographer and performer and writer based in New York. And I'm here at the Chocolate Factory Theater for this week in a technical residency to install my show, The Planet Eaters, which opens November 13th through the 16th. The piece is based on ethnic dances, music, storytelling, and traditional forms from a place I'm not in. I've had to do a lot of research and return travel to the Balkans in order to prepare myself for the project. For a long time I was calling it a solo dance, an interdisciplinary solo dance, but it's really a duet between myself and the composer Chris Kuklis.
That was beautiful.
It is based on research and travel that I've done, so for me it's a kind of a restructuring or reconfiguration of my research and study of these forms. Which is then kind of interfacing with some of the other contemporary performance practices that I've been involved with over the course of my career. And then Chris has been built in both as a kind of co-performer as well as someone who is kind of receiving my research and then finding his own approaches to it. I think sort of thematically the piece does touch on ideas of ethnography and anthropology, but in a very kind of exploded and surreal way. But I would say that if I'm kind of dancing my ethnography, I would say that Chris maybe is the ethnographer of my research, kind of embedded inside of the piece. I never expected to be interested in folk dance in the way that I've become over the last 5 years. In 2008, I was studying in Vienna. I had several weeks to kill in Europe, and so I decided that I would go to the Balkans and visit. And there I encountered traditional forms, both people dancing in a village setting and then also kind of stage performances by state-sponsored companies. So I got this kind of really wide range of how culture is presented in dance and music in the Balkans, and that really sparked a kind of conversation back and forth between what my traditional forms are, you know, in contemporary dance, and trying to understand where the traditional and the contemporary lie in relation to each other in my own practice. I met Saša Kovacevic, who is the costume designer for the piece, about a year ago when I was beginning to think about how Chris and I would look in the performance. And Saša is originally from Serbia, and he was a professional folk dancer in the kind of premier state-sponsored company. He also worked at the Ethnographic Museum in Belgrade, so he has a really wide and deep knowledge both of the folklore, of the pagan traditions, kind of, let's say, behind the folklore, as well as material construction techniques. He's a fashion designer now based in Berlin, and so I brought Saša to New York to construct costumes and be in dialogue about the look of the show, about my dancing, about the overall kind of project of dealing with the traditional forms in a contemporary setting. Another person I'm really happy that I was able to kind of attached to the project is Madeline, who is the tech director here at the Chocolate Factory and also a fantastic lighting designer and thinker about performance with a dance background. So it's really great to have someone who can sort of see the dance and as well as see the lights interacting with it. So she's been a really valuable person both in designing the set and lighting the piece. Because I'm studying traditional dances, which are quite physical and involve a lot of jumping and footwork, I needed to find a way to protect my knees and my ankles and my feet. So I pulled the trigger and decided to lay down a floor. Laying down the floor then sparked an idea of how to set up maybe a kind of theater within the theater at the Chocolate Factory. So then that required other set elements for the piece. And it's been a learning experience to understand how much labor it takes to lay down a floor and curtains and then get light and sound cables sort of strung in and around those things, as well as rehearse and polish off the piece. And still, there's so much that is left untouched in my research, and so at some point, part of the process of being here in this technical residency is to find a nice kind of cutting off point where I can begin to own the work for myself.
Montenegro, that's what you're coming out, yeah.
And you'll come out